Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic and I'm your host, and today is a guided meditation. And what you can expect is that the practice will open up with a brief recap, followed by the actual practice itself. If you find today's episode valuable, please share with your friends and family, and feel free to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The show will begin after the following chimes. So today's practice was centered around this idea of narrow and broad focus or awareness and how we could use that internally and externally. So I started you off in a very broad way. I just had you sit and experience whatever was happening in that moment. And then I kind of became a little more strategic with it, ever so slightly. I had you move your attention to a sensation that you were feeling in your body, good, bad, or indifferent, just so you could see how those things change, how you project or put a story on top of those things as well as they come up. And then I kind of moved your attention a little more narrowly by mapping your body with the breath and your imagination. Did a couple rounds of that. And then we opened up to a bit of attention around narrowing on the breath and noticing what was coming up as you were breathing and where you felt the breath in the body. And then I finished it by doing an external, very broad opening of sound and letting you see how you can focus your attention outward, you can focus it inward, you can make it big or you can make it small. And you can use that as a tool for managing anything that arises in your body, um, or in your mind for that matter, as just another technique. And that brought us about full circle with the final check in of your mood on the back end of the practice. And that was our time together today. My name is Dominic, and this is a 30-minute guided meditation. I'll be prompting you to various locations within the body, using in combination with the breath, techniques to help you practice and learn meditation. So, first part of that is getting yourself settled into a comfortable position, whether that's lying down or taking a seat, whatever's going to let you be still for the next 30 minutes. Finding a place to let your hands rest. Either if you're lying down, they're going to rest by your side, they might rest on your belly. If you're seated, they might be resting in your lap, or your palms might be placed in one another. The goal is here to help them be stable and steady. And then I'd like to have you just take an inhale breath. Make sure you have the space and the ability to breathe freely and openly. And if your posture is restricting that, then simply make some adjustments so that you can just breathe freely, as breath is an important component to your meditation practice. Throughout our journey today, there'll be pockets of silence where you get the opportunity to sit with whatever the prompt is that I've given you so that you can kind of explore it and learn more about it throughout your practice. Lastly, I ask you to close the eyes if you haven't done so already. If having the eyes closed feels uncomfortable or doesn't feel safe, you can leave the eyes open and still perform all the techniques, just by locking the vision on an non moving object slightly in front of you. And this is the foundation. And this is where the practice begins. As we take a seat and begin to observe what is happening within us, there's a couple things that you should consider almost as guidelines to your practice. Here in this time and space that you're spending, this is a time in which we aren't looking for perfection. We're looking for things that are either skillful or unskillful. We're going to suspend our kind of labels about right and wrong and really just take this to be the matter of the experience in the moment. And in doing so, we get to be a little curious and we get to learn about how our moment to moment experience is created. With the eyes closed and the attention free at this point, it's pretty broad, meaning that there's no one specific thing I want you focused on. I just want you taking in whatever you're noticing in this moment. If that's a busy mind, that's a busy mind. If it's your breath, it's your breath. If it's a physical sensation in your body, it's a physical sensation. Or any other bit of sensory information that is capturing your attention. As you're being curious about what's coming up, what's changing, how you feel about it, where you feel things in your body in relationship to what you're thinking, the way your breath is moving. These various elements, when they kind of all come together, they begin to shape what we know as our moods for any given moment in time. Getting sick this week has, by default, forced my senses to become a little more alert than usual. And it's also made me a little more heightened and aware of how that sensory information, when combined with my certain thought patterns, help to shape my mood for any given moment. And it's critical for us to understand as we move through our meditation practice that this is how those moments unfold. And it's okay here when the attention is broad like this, if it bounces from one thing to the next. or if it stays and lingers a little bit. Our attention often acts like a spotlight in which we can keep it kind of widely focused, like we're doing now, or we can narrow it in to be a little more specific. You can begin to notice this by taking your attention and moving it through your body, locating as any sensations that might be present and letting your attention rest on that sensation. And that could be anything from a chronic kind of pain or normal sensation you might have. It might be the weight of your feet. It it could be any kind of soreness or achiness that might be present. But the goal here is to find a sensation in your body, let your attention focus on it, and breathe into the space where your attention is focusing. And notice what arises as you explore that. One of the things you might notice as you're narrowing in on the sensations of the body is notice the labels we attach to those, meaning the sensations that we like or the ones we dislike, how we want some to stay and some to go, or if you're even met or challenged with locating and sensing and feeling. What comes up when you meet that? Like, what are you seeing if you're not noticing a sensation? As you begin to learn to connect the breath and the sensations in the body along with your attention together, you find that this becomes a tool that helps you to reshape and move sensations from one location to the next in the body. So if you have a pointed sensation you're recognizing, as you breathe in, you can take that breath from that sensation and widen it further through the body, not excluding what's coming up, but allowing more than just what you're focused on in, widening the aperture just a little bit. Even if you're focused on any one area of the body, you also will notice that your mind over time likes to sometimes become a distraction to the practice, pulls your attention away from what you're working with. And when you notice that happening, understand that that's actually a good thing because it means that you're aware of where your attention should be. And now you have the opportunity to redirect it. And we'll take this idea of focusing the breath narrowly and begin to systematically move that through the body. So we're going to I'm going to guide you through a exercise in which you're going to use your breath and your imagination to move throughout the entire body. So on your next inhale, imagine and allow your attention to drop down to the base of your spine, to the bowl of your pelvis, and as if you're breathing in to that space. As you breathe out, let your attention move up to the back of your right eye, the right side of your face. When your next inhale comes in, move around your back to your left shoulder, left arm, the center of your left palm. As you breathe in, you'll move up to the front of your left eye, the front and the whole side, left side of your face. As you breathe out, bring your attention to the center of your heart. As you breathe in, your attention will drop down into your right leg. And then as you breathe out, your attention moves up into your right arm, your right shoulder and arm. And then as you breathe out, your attention wraps around your back, comes down into your left leg. As you breathe in, your attention moves up the center of your body and lands right between the brow in your third eye. And then as you breathe out, your attention moves to the crown of your head and includes your whole body as sensation. And you can continue this sequence, mapping the body with the breath, moving the breath through each of the spaces. And I'll give you the direction again as you kind of work through it. So the first breath drops you into the bowl of your pelvis, the base of your spine. The next breath will move you to the back of your right eye, the right side of your face. The third breath takes you to your left hand, your left arm. Your fourth breath takes you to the front of your left eye, the left side of your face. The fifth breath moves you to the center of your heart. The sixth breath moves you to your right leg. The seventh breath moves you to your right arm and your right shoulder and your right hand. The eighth breath takes you into your left leg. And the ninth breath puts you at the third eye, the space between your brow. And your 10th breath is the crown of the head, including the entire body as sensation. And moving through this idea of narrow to wide with our attention. Part of why we learn to move our attention through the body in this way and to become in touch with how our moods are created is so that we can train ourselves to deal with any mood that comes up, so that we know we have tools and techniques to use to keep us from becoming overly focused or locked in on just what's happening in that moment. We find ourselves with agency to shift our attention, to shift our breathing, to surrender in moments when necessary to what's coming up in the body until a new opportunity kind of arises from that. Begin to dial your breath in to be a bit more narrow. Start to feel where in your body your breath is centrally located. Maybe that's in your belly, or maybe that's just in the space under your nose, right, right above your upper lip. Let your attention rest and become really narrowly focused to that first breath that you're taking in. And then allow your attention to hold here on the breath. Majority of our practice today has been centered around this idea of narrowly and broadly focusing our attention internally towards what's happening inside of us. But it also works externally as well. And so I'd like to take the next couple minutes to let our attention open externally towards the sounds around us. And in the same way that you allowed yourself to sit and feel openly with whatever came up, sit and hear whatever arrives into your immediate space, noticing the sounds that are narrow or feel like they're closer to you versus the ones that are more broader and wider, further out. In listening this way, notice where the space of silence exists and how it impacts your experience. It's interesting to notice that with sound, you don't have to do anything for it to appear, to change, to move, to get more narrow or get broader. It does a lot of this naturally on its own in the way your breath shows up, in the way a thought shows up, in the way a sensation shows up. And it's in this way that all of these elements respond to the way we interact with them, to include dissipating on their own when we don't. The thought that stays is the one that we hold on to. Taking one final opportunity before we close out practice today to check in with the general mood that you're experiencing now in this moment. And simply notice what or how the practice today influenced that mood. And remember that that too will soon change. Taking your time to slowly blink the eyes open, begin to move the hands and bring some energy into the body as you bring your practice to a close.
That's the beauty of it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with metta may you be well.
Like and subscribe.